We're coming in hot with inspiring guests, witty banter, and colorful commentary for today's veterans and military community. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Oh boy, welcome back. Welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima experience. I'm Jeff Daly of Michigan Dailies out here in Los Angeles, and where I usually am in JDHQ. Is there such thing as AGHQ?
No, it's the world, the universe.
The world is your headquarters.
Yeah.
That's I actually like that. I like that. So we have a good show today. If you are out there and you are listening to us and you're looking, and maybe you've been away for a minute, I don't know. Maybe you've been away for a minute and you noticed them calling this person with a new face Ashley, and you're wondering where's the other Ashley? And I'll tell you. Actually, I can't tell you much. I can't tell you much because it's a secret.
Yeah,
and Holly
old Ashley is.
What she's doing is secret.
Cool.
Yeah, she got secret projects that are being worked on, and Holly's looking at me now like, if you give away this secret, you're gonna lose your clearance, buddy. You are gonna lose your clearance, and you're gonna go to Legion Jail, which is
God,
somewhere at convention where you don't want to be, and I've never been there, so I think
just read you all the terms and conditions. That's what Legion Jail is.
Yeah, you got to read them all and then give a summary to everybody so they can agree to them. All right. Finally, something for pre 9/11 Gulf War.
Finally. Did you hear that there's been a study launched of Gulf War illness? You know where I heard it from? The American Legion today, which is April 17th. It was back in time. If you have a time machine, go check this out. The Department of Veterans Affairs and National Institutes of Health began a joint 5-year study that aims to explain the chronic symptoms of Gulf War illness. The study may lead to a more definitive diagnostic criteria for Gulf War illness, development of a new diagnostic testing, and potential treatments. Gulf War illness affects multiple symptoms in the body and includes chronic symptoms such as fatigue, headache, memory, and cognitive difficulties, joint and muscle pain, poor sleep, and problems with gastrointestinal and respiratory function. This disease affects about a third of the nearly 700,000 men and women who served in the Persian Gulf during Operations Desert Storm and Desert Shield. This week, the first veteran arrived at the National Institutes of Health Clinical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, to participate in the study. Veterans who served in the Gulf War and meet the enrollment criteria can inquire about participating in the study by emailing get ready, get your pen out, because this is a hard one. Let's do this. Victor Hotel Alpha Whiskey Alpha Sierra dot in depth at va.gov. Effective treatments for Gulf War illness have remained elusive, forcing healthcare providers to mostly focus on easing patient symptoms, said VA Chief Research and Development Officer Rachel Romani. VA and NIH collaboration will bring together experts who will meticulously investigate the underlying causes of Gulf War illness symptoms. With the help of the veterans who volunteer for the study, researchers will lay the groundwork for care that will meaningfully improve the lives of the hundreds of thousands of veterans living with this disease. This is an important collaboration that we hope will lead to many answers to those suffering from Gulf War illness, said Director of National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, Walter Korshachetz, Dr. MD. Taking advantage of the resources available only at NIH, this comprehensive study will take a new look at this illness and uncover biological mechanisms that may pave the way to treatments.
I can't express how much I love this action. Lately, I've loved all of the actions that we've done with, exposure to things, going back to Vietnam and 9/11. And it seems like to me, and maybe I'm biased, but the Gulf War kind of gets left out sometimes. And I do think that, and it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same people. Gulf War, post 9/11. It's a lot of the same people. But I do think that there are unique challenges to each war that we get into, and I think that this kind of research is not just the right thing to do. It's a very important, necessary thing to do, because we're going to have a lot of people with a lot of different problems. And it's amazing. It's amazing to me that they're getting ahead of this, so that when people start actually becoming really ill later on in life, we're going to know what did it. We're going to have researched what caused it, and hopefully we'll have developed a way to treat it. And I think that this is an important mission expansion for the VA, to get ahead of things and just stop treating symptoms. And I think this is going to really lift the impression of the VA with veterans out there who are going through things, or who will be going through things, because they will remember this. And I noticed that you did very well with your military phonetic alphabet. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
But if you out there are not good with that, I'm sure Holly will put it in plain letters on the show notes. So
do you know what causes Gulf War illness? What caused it?
It's the beginning of the 5-year study. People a lot smarter than me. So
But I thought, but they're not looking to see what caused it. They're looking to see how to treat it.
Right. Gulf War new diagnostic testings. I mean, I can't tell you.
Okay. Well, it's a secret. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
classified.
I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for. Remember the guy? I don't remember if it was you. If it was 2.0 or OG, where we had the guy. I think it was you. It was definitely you, where he talked about everywhere we go to war. If he sees a puddle on the floor,
yeah. You don't lick it,
and you never assume it's water ever.
Right.
So it could be a lot of things. I hope they figure it out. You know what else though? Today, do you have any other thoughts on this? I mean, you have someone through the Gulf War, right?
Yeah. Well, who went through it? My father-in-law, but he passed away. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely know people, so I'm gonna spread the word.
Well, your husband's in the military for how many years?
32.
He was in during the Gulf War.
Well, I'll spread the word to him.
Right.
And I'm sure he'll be like, oh, I don't want to tell anybody anything. Keep everybody out of my business.
Yeah, no research. Yeah, I know what research is. Right. Well, let's get to our guest, because he has a lot. Today we'll be joined by award-winning director and writer, Army combat veteran, USC School of Cinematic Arts MFA program alumni, and American Legion Post 43 member Robert Ham. Robert has made a feature documentary called Interpreters Wanted about Afghan interpreters that will be released this spring on Vet TV. We love Vet TV. We'll be back to talk about this film and more with Robert right after the break.
By pulling out your cell phone and simply typing www.legion.org/action, you have at your fingertips our legislative priorities. With one press of a button, you can let your congressmen and your senators know what the American Legion wants to pass. And you can do it every single day. The power is in our hands. You just have to take the opportunity to use it.
Hello, Alphas. As promised, we have Robert Ham here. Robert, you are a member of Hollywood Post 43, and we have not met.
How you doing, Jeff? It's good to meet you virtually. Yeah.
There you go. How long have you been a member?
I think since 2016.
You've been a member longer than me. I came in the end of 2017. So there you go. So today we're here. We're going to talk about a few things. I think I can see some things that would spark my interest, but I don't get to kick things off. That would go to Miss AG 2.0, Ashley Gutermuth.
Ashley, thank you so much, Jeff. It's lovely to see you. Robert, it's great to see you. I am super interested in your story. So, Army combat vet, and you went to USC. graduated from their cinematic arts MFA program, but you did things what I wouldn't say it's always in reverse, but you went to school first and then you joined the Army. So how did you make that decision? What's that all about?
So long and short of it is, I grew up in Los Angeles, son to two artists. My dad was a traveling musician, so he was gone a lot. My mom was graduated from Cal Arts in music and art. And so I grew up like wanting to pursue art and got into videoing. I got my first camera when I was in junior high and high school and just videoed everything. And 9/11 happened when I had already started college. I was 18. I was in college for about, I guess, just about a month. Had floundered in high school, did a whole bunch of different projects, and got a horror. I think I was like a 2.4 student graduating high school. Kind of a law student, and got into this just small private college. And decided to pursue film. And so I basically traveled a lot during that time. I studied abroad in Israel, did my first documentary while I was over there, and kind of was just trying to figure out like what was happening over in the Middle East since 9/11. That impacted me deeply. Got married when I graduated college and kind of floundered in the industry. Was like I did like extra work. I was like a Marine on Flags of Our Fathers with like Clint Eastwood. I did like production assistant work. I like drove film when they were still, doing film all over LA, anything that I could do to break into Hollywood. And I was just like striking out everywhere and didn't really like what my story was within the industry, and went to a recruiter, and they said, "Hey, we have combat camera, public affairs." And I'm like, talked to my wife, and she was like, "No, please don't do this." I said, "I think I'm going to," and she supported me through it. So that's kind of
awesome.
like the story of how I got to be that in the military.
I love that. I'm a stand-up comedian, and so I feel like I can kind of empathize with you with the whole trying to figure out the business side. I'm trying to be accepted in different ways, and just trying to work through like the mud of it all. There's a Australian comedian and composer named Tim Minchin, and he's got a song called "Leaving LA." And he's got a line in there that's talking about leaving the industry in Los Angeles and saying, "I've seen your game and I don't want to play." And I feel that so much, where I'm just like, I'm going around this as much as I can.
It is. It's tough. It's a tough industry in all the different areas of the art. It's like it's super competitive, and sometimes it's hard to like weed through the people that have worked hard enough to deserve to be here, and the people that kind of just get in because of the weirdness of our industries. So
yeah.
So I found my own way into the military, and then the story continued through there. So yeah. And I always wanted to come back to LA. I kind of was always wanted to come back to LA to do film. So it kind of worked out when I got to USC. Yeah.
Well, you're a native of LA, so that helps draw you back all the time, right? Yeah. So in the military, you did eventually you stopped at combat camera to say public affairs, but you did end up being in combat camera, correct?
Well, so I describe it to people that, it's a fine line, and I know in the military world, it's not like people like combat camera and public affairs are two separate things. So all those guys out there that are like, I was technically a broadcast journalist, public affairs. I didn't really consider myself I didn't really like the terminology broadcast journalist because, I worked for the military. It wasn't like journalism. And I kind of gravitated towards combat camera a little bit more, always competed with them in all the competitions and stuff. So the vernacular of the way that I describe it to people who are outside the military is this combat camera. Because to me, it's like we're all storytellers. We're all people trying to tell the military soldier story. So, but technically I was public affairs. Yeah.
But you did get behind the camera.
Oh yeah, I was a 46 Romeo. I was behind. That's basically what I did, is tell the soldier story. Carried a camera and a weapon. And had a lot of time doing that in the military, and had some good successes, and all the things.
Yeah, when you carry a camera and a weapon, you choose which one to use very, very, very carefully. Can you talk about how your military experience led you to becoming the documentarian filmmaker that you are today?
Yeah. Well, I was always interested in doing, films and documentary before I went to the military. But when you get into, after I graduated basic training and you go to like it's kind of like the military art school. It's called the Defense Information School at Fort Meade, Maryland.
DINFOS.
DINFOS. And it's kind of like the art rejects who like we all kind of felt the same. We're all kind of like weirdo rejects from our whatever art world we were in, and we're thrown into this military art school. And it was really fun. I was a little bit more advanced because I had already a degree in it than some of the other folks. So I was always trying new things and trying to push the boundaries of it. The military wasn't really doing docu-style storytelling at that time. They were really doing like broadcast journalism, where you had to like stand up in front of the mic and be like, "I'm Specialist Ham reporting here." And it's like that stuff I wasn't really into that. It was like, that was what the Armed Forces Network was requiring. But I kind of started, because I had that experience in documentary, I started to convince the commands that I was a part of that this is a better way to tell our stories. I was stationed, after I went to airborne school, I was stationed in Fort Richardson, Alaska, which was an airborne infantry brigade. And we were basically training up to go to Afghanistan. So I did stories leading up to our deployment. And then we deployed in 2009 to 2010. And I subsequently did a whole bunch of kind of like short to long form documentaries. My longest one that I did while I was there was about 30 minutes. And I did a whole bunch of others that were more docu-style with a clear beginning, middle, and end storyline, where I interviewed the soldiers that were, I did one called The Attack on the 4th of July, which was a major attack on a combat outpost in the outskirts of Afghanistan. And there were two platoon combat outposts, and they were almost overran by 200 insurgents with a vehicle IED. And the insurgents had filmed it. And after our guys had defeated them, they collected the footage. And then I went 2 weeks later and interviewed them and filmed a whole bunch around the base. And I stayed with them for about 2 weeks and did missions and stuff, and kind of like put together a story about that major attack that had happened. So those were the kind of stories that I was doing. And I was really kind of proud of that work.
It's so interesting. I love when you pull it together, and when things are, you can take something that is so interesting and put it forth in a boring, non-storytelling way, and nobody will care. And the same story, and give it that structure, and all of a sudden it's a major deal, So I love that. When you were going around and following the groups, did you pick one or two individuals to kind of tell their stories, or was it just sort of like the whole platoon as a whole? Or
it's a good question. So I was one videographer. So there was a small group of us, public affairs shop. There was like an officer, a sergeant who was basically just in charge of like the day-to-day of what we were doing, and then a photographer who her name was Andrea Hill at that time. She's now Andrea Silberman, and she was my partner. And we'd go out on missions together, and I was the videographer. And we were the only people covering a 3,500 unit brigade. So there was like the brigade from Alaska is 3,500 soldiers. I mean, I think we had 5 battalions, which were split up into like 500, like a couple infantry, Cav scouts, those kind of guys. And so once we're on the ground, I would go into our tactical operations center, and I'd be like, who are the guys that are doing the coolest missions? Can I go out with them?
yeah.
And so they would contact, and then I'd go, and then, Andrea would go over here and I would go over here, and they'd fly us out, and it would just be us solo. And we'd show up on these bases with guys that we've never seen before, because even if we were training with them before, I mean, it's a big group of guys. I mean, you have no idea. And you just show up and try to convince them that you're worthy to go out on missions with them. And you make fun. I always use self-deprecating humor. I always kind of joke that, like, because I wasn't infantry, I was public affairs. I had gone to training. I'd gone to basic training. You're a soldier first. But I always kind of said, if we got into a hairy situation and the combat camera guy has to start shooting his weapon instead of his camera, we're all in a lot of trouble.
Everybody's screwed.
I used a different form of language, but yeah. So they always kind of liked that, because it gave the infantry guys respect for what they were doing, and that I was there to tell their story I could shoot if you need me to, but I'm here to film your story and basically share with the families back home, your girlfriends, your wives, your parents, about what you guys are doing here. And that was like my goal.
So
I think, yeah. Oh, sorry. I just real quick. How did you make sure you stayed out of their way while they were doing missions? This blows my mind that people can be followed around and you not cause them to screw something up, or how do you perfect that?
That's a great question. I think, well, first I trained a lot with them leading up to it. I went on all the training exercises. I knew who a lot of these guys were, especially the leaders. And they would tell me, they're like, don't get in our way. But I was a soldier, so I knew what I remember one time we raided a village, and I usually was like the last guy in the door because they're going in to actually clear it and I'm filming it. And one time they had zip tied a whole bunch of guys, and they said, Specials Ham, watch these guys. And they just all disappeared. And so I just, I switched from my camera to my weapon, and I was like, okay, I'm going to watch these guys. And then they left me and moved on to the next house and totally forgot that I was there. So,
oh my God.
So, I got used to being with them. I got used to knowing what my role was, that I was ready to like cover them if I needed to, but they trusted me, and they trusted, like, once they started seeing my stories come out, they realized that I was not against them, that I was part of their team. Because it is different when you bring out civilian outside journalists. They're kind of like, you gotta babysit them because they'll just disappear and walk off, or
Oh my God.
or film things they're not supposed to. But I knew what the rules were. I knew what I was supposed to film, what I wasn't supposed to film. I knew that I wanted to be trusted by them and a part of them. And so you kind of just spend a lot of time knowing what your role is and stay out of their way. But when you're called upon to be a soldier, you're a soldier. I mean, that just, when you go through the military training like that, it becomes a little bit instinctual.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, trust is a great word, because there's been a lot of talk about that in the subject matter of a documentary that you have. It's already out, I think, called Interpreters Wanted. Tell us about Interpreters Wanted and how you went about making such a such a big project that has touched, on a subject that's touched our political sphere, and it's kind of unified veterans over this because of trust.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm really proud of this project. It's my latest feature documentary, and it's a real personal story. It's a real kind of small story about me and my two interpreters who are brothers, Saifullah and Ishmael, and their story. I guess the long and short of the story is, when I was at USC, I wanted my thesis film to be a scripted short film about a rough story about Saifullah's life. Kind of one major incident where the Taliban were kind of hunting him down and how he was trying to get out of Afghanistan. And we wanted to use that as a advocacy film to talk about the plight of what was going on, because Saifullah had reached out to me in about 2014, 3 years after I'd left Afghanistan, that he was in trouble and wanted to get out of Afghanistan. And so we were going to use this film. Anyway, long story short, we did not accomplish our goal. We raised a whole bunch of money on Kickstarter, but it wasn't quite enough, and we were students, and it just didn't work out to do a scripted film. But over the course of this process, Saifullah was having more trouble getting to America, and I started to get involved in writing letters to Congress people and trying to understand what was going on and trying to get him here. And I started recording the process. I'd also had a whole bunch of footage of Saifullah and Ishmael from my deployment to Afghanistan, because we did a whole bunch of missions together. And I had used a whole bunch of that footage for this documentary too. So, without giving too much of the story away, both of them were able to get to America. And that was a long journey for us and super emotional. I remember there were like nights, many nights that I would get, after I'd get texts from Saifullah that he was in trouble and that the Taliban were after him and that he didn't know if he was going to ever get out of America, or ever get to America. I just didn't know if he was ever going to make it out. And, to kind of go back out to the 10,000 foot view, like our relationship with interpreters was so necessary in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like we couldn't have accomplished anything. They were on all the missions. There's no way to communicate. None of the, it's like very few Americans spoke any of the local languages. I mean, Pashto and Dari are the main languages in Afghanistan, and I didn't know any soldier that spoke them. So we have to have interpreters on every mission. They're in the firefights with us. They're in the mortars with us. Some of them actually saved soldiers' lives on many occasions. It was a very demanding job, a very hard job, and then we leave and they're stuck there. And so it became a big burden for soldiers that had known these guys personally. So I started to document this in a film, in a documentary, and then the story got even crazier because one of the brothers who had made it to America had to go back to Afghanistan in 2020 because his dad had died of COVID. Obviously COVID is like going all over the world and all the things, but like places like Afghanistan that are third world countries are getting hit really hard by it. They don't have the resources. They don't have, so his father had died. He got COVID and was dead within a week. So he went back to Afghanistan to help the family and was stuck there during the withdrawal. And that's like the last 30 minutes of the film is his story from the withdrawal. So it kind of, I was able to tell basically a lot of the history of Afghanistan and the struggle of the Afghan people through the eyes of these two brother interpreters, starting all the way back when the Russians invaded in 1979. So it's kind of a story that's really personal and small, but kind of comes out to a much bigger point of hopefully it answers some questions about what we were doing there for 20 years. What were some of the problems? What did we gain? What did we lose? And hopefully, I hope that some veterans will walk away from those wars realizing what they did for that country wasn't a waste. They did their best. They did what they were told to do, what they were ordered to do. And a lot of the failures of the Iraq and Afghan war are not on the shoulders of the soldier, because they did the best they could with what they were given and actually accomplished a crazy amount of stuff for some impossible odds. A lot of the failures lie in DC, and that's kind of as classic as war. I mean, that goes back to the Vietnam, it goes back to all what war is about. So hopefully a lot of that and the brotherhood and the love that can come out of those things as well, because the love and the brotherhood that comes out between soldiers and interpreters, I think, is hopefully what comes across in the film. So,
but I think it's pretty cool. I've heard that you don't have to wait until you go to a film festival where this is going to be. This is widely available. Where can people see this?
Well, okay, it's not quite yet widely available.
Okay.
It will be soon. We got to go out. We have to do festivals first, and then it will be on Vet TV. So Vet TV basically, so I've been working on this film for about 13 years, and I was almost done, but not quite. I needed some finishing funds to finish the last bulk of it, and Vet TV came on as a partner. And they gave me the rest of the funds to finish the film, and so it'll be going on their platform eventually, but they want to get it to film festivals first and see how it goes, and that could be a long process, but so it's not quite yet. We do have a trailer available on the Vet TV website, or you could go to my website, which is hammerproductions.com, no E, HAMMR productions.com, or Vet TV, and it has a trailer and some posts about it. So,
and I assume the festival list and schedule is on your website as well.
Yeah, once we get in, we've started submitting. So
okay.
we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it's we're excited to get it out there, and it feels very timely considering that we're still talking about getting legislation passed that will help more of these Afghans come here. So, and that's
great.
the whole point, is to, that was always the motive, is to get, it's sometimes there's a big gap between the civilian and the military populations, right? And like what's going on and what's important in the military community, and how do we get that out? So hopefully this will raise some awareness to get these issues out there.
Yeah, bridging that gap is so important, because I always say that the military community is good at hiding and trying to solve its own problems, but there's so many people that want to help on that have no military connection but support the country, and if we can just bring them in, we can be so much stronger. Your movie sounds amazing. I was at McGuire Air Force Base when the withdrawal happened, and we've got thousands of Afghanis that came to live in the village on the base. So I got kind of an interesting insight into, first of all, how the military community came together. We filled a full gym with stuff, took care of those people, made sure that they had not even like stuff that we would think that they need. Like we found out they needed scarves or, things like that would be just a little bit helpful. And people were all over it. And just the pictures of the little kids that would be, I have a friend he's a command chief, and he's a real big guy. There's a picture of him just walking along, and a little girl runs up and grabs his hand like she's holding her dad's hand while he's in uniform. They used to see everybody saluting the flag when the national anthem was played. They started saluting the flag. Things like that you didn't see on the news, but you saw all the nasty stuff on the news. They changed the narrative to make it seem like they were bad people. And I was so angry about that, because it was obvious that was not what was happening. And they were excited, and we have all of these new Americans that want to go and just do the best that they can for the United States. So I'm excited to see your film, and I think that is amazing. Especially what I learned when they came. I had no idea what Afghanistan was like in like the 60s, the 70s. If you look at the pictures of Afghanistan, I'm sure you did, there's certain pictures where it could be the United States. It's the way people dress is totally different. The houses, there's gardens, and it's the way that things collapsed. You go, oh my God, well, we need to protect the country, because look how fast that happened.
Yeah, it's an absolute tragedy. And I had, Saiful and Ishmael, I had them here. We had this private screening, and we did a question and answer after, and they were here in my home. And actually I live in Santa Clarita, which looks very similar to some areas in Afghanistan. And they, it's a tragedy to like, and you could see it in their eyes that, their home that they fought for beyond 20 years, beyond when we were even there. They wanted freedom, and they wanted democracy, and they wanted a lot of what the West was offering, but it was, we could get into the strategy and the politics and all the things that went wrong. But I think at the end of the day, as you were saying, across the board, it seems like veterans know the value of what the Afghan and the Iraqi interpreters were, what our bond was, and that was kind of why we were there, is to help people like them. The Taliban became a really good bad, and Al Qaeda became a really good bad guy for us to fight. But there were so many good Afghans that were there that just wanted to live their life. And that's what we saw when we were there. And those are the relationships and the friendships that we built while we were there. And that's what we experienced. And so that's what we, wanted to why we wanted to help them, and why we still want to help them. And, I think that's like the inherent goodness of so many of the soldiers and Marines and airmen and everybody and sailors who went over there to try to help. That was why. I think the best of us, that's why,
I echo that. It's been a unifying mission for the military and veteran community. The American Legion has been all over this. It's one of our legislative priorities. And part of that power is getting all of our members and allies and friends to alert their elected officials on what's the right thing to do.
Yep.
We've centered that effort, and I'm sure super producer Holly is going to have this in the notes, at legion.org/action. If you go there, you can sign up proactively. By the way, you can sign up before there's something that you want to vote for, so that you can get notifications. I've always been trying to stress that point. Is even if nothing's going on, which there always is, you can sign up there and be notified. And right now, one of the foci, I believe is the correct term, is tell Congress to pass the Afghan Adjustment Act. We've covered it here on Tango Alpha Lima before. I think this is an exciting way to get that information out there and in the front of people's mind, instead of just another call to action. They see the effort that you're putting in, the love that you're putting in, and the support that you're giving these new faces. Right now, all we hear is numbers and stories. You're providing faces and real impact on real human lives. And I think that this is going to give the Afghan mission a huge boost. And I hope that everyone will go to legion.org/action, every alpha better, by the way, and we can help you help the many people that need help.
Yeah, I love that. When a couple of people will finish my film, they said, well, now what do we do? And I'm like, I'm not a politician. I'm a filmmaker. Like, I've been working on this film for 14 years and following this, and just barely felt like I got my interpreters here. This is the way that the average person can like do something about it, is contact your congressperson and say, we need to pass this. And I really thank you very much for bringing that up. Yeah.
And wherever you go, if you need help contacting Legion in that area to help send people to watch the film, because I think many of us would be interested in seeing this film, and 2, promoting this grassroots action so that we can actually get some things done. I tell it's people, like, in a way, that little click that you do, because after you register, you just have to click and then check the verbiage, make sure it suits you or whatever. That little click is the easiest way of getting a cape, because you are exhibiting collectively superhero power when millions and millions of congressional inquiries are made on something like this. It makes a difference. We've seen it with a couple of very big initiatives that the Legion has had. So it does work, and I know Legionnaires would be thrilled to help out a fellow Legionnaire and yourself, and really just the mission, because it strikes in the heart of a lot of us.
Yeah.
There you go.
As it should.
All right, Ashley, you got any parting
Any
thoughts?
parting words? Well, I'm excited to watch your film, and I have a question for you. If do you have any advice for people that are military families, veterans currently serving, that want to do what you're doing and tell people stories through film? Any quick advice for where they should go or what they should think about?
Yeah, I mean, just start telling stories. You have to fail to keep going. I mean, when I look back on my films that I made in my undergrad, I mean, they were horrible, almost unwatchable, but I just did them and I finished them. And now we have like these iPhones, I actually did almost a whole feature documentary that was the one before my Interpreters Wanted one, called Made with Melanie, that is almost entirely shot on my iPhone. It's just like, basically go out and shoot stuff and try to tell stories, read books, watch movies, and do it. Like, that's the only way to do it. And show it to people and have them say, oh, that was not very good, and learn from it. And that's the only way, and learn to tell your own story, because all of us have stories to tell. All of us have things to say. And I guess that's what I would say. And then go to use your GI Bill. Use your GI Bill.
Use your G. There you go. You heard it, alphas. Use your GI Bill and fail and tell your stories.
So make sure you fail up. Now, from someone who speaks of humility when it started, you're now multiple Emmy winner. So you can take the credibility of quality, add it to the passion and love that he's pouring into this thing. And I don't know how everyone isn't calling their closest film festival to demand that this entry be put into that festival. If any of you out there are working on a festival, I know some people at Catalina, so if you want to submit there, I can put in a good word. Actually, my friend lives in Santa Clarita, who's really involved in Catalina Film Festival. So
I'm always looking to collaborate. I'm always looking for work. It's like, as a filmmaker, it's like job to job to job. So, anybody, let's work together. Let's make some movies. Let's do some stuff. And a humble brag, I've also lost more than I've won Emmys won. So,
But it's an honor just to be nominated, is what they say.
That's what they say. Let me tell you, it feels a lot better to win.
Better to win.
I hate
want victory. I want victory.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ham, for being here. And though you get judged by the Emmys on technical things and creative things, we're just going to judge you as a person, and we're going to do that when you're not here. So you're going to have to tune in later to see what we say, because we're going to do that without you after the break.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
The American Legion is raising awareness about PTSD and veteran suicide by offering hope, camaraderie, and support.
Be the one to help end veteran suicide.
The goal of the American Legion's Be the One campaign is to destigmatize asking for mental health support.
Be the one to ask a veteran in your life how they're doing.
Be the one who saves one veteran.
Go to betheone.org and help the American Legion end veteran suicide.
Will you be the one?
All right, Ashley, we are back. Did you enjoy the break?
Yeah, I went and I did a puzzle, and then I solved world peace.
Several piece. So, ladies and gentlemen, quick breaking news is that the American Legion is no longer going to be needed. We have world peace now.
Yes, sir.
Outstanding. That's outstanding.
Did it.
All right. We are going to go. Well, first, let's do a little recap on this. So,
Okay.
Interpreters Wanted.
They are.
I'm excited to see this documentary.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. Looks good. I mean, the cinematography.
Wow.
Just, yeah, I know more than two syllables.
You're cinephile, though, too.
Yeah, I think it looks like a great movie, and I love his story and how he went to school first, and then he became a part of the military, and how, when I asked for his advice on, how do you get into this field? Because there's so many military members that they just think, well, I could never do something like that. But hey, you can go do it.
You really can. And he has done it. He's going to be shown on Vet TV, and they are great supporters of veteran content. They were just recently, the editor of this, Jarek Wilhelmsen, had a program of veteran media made film competition. I wonder if maybe documentaries will be the next theme. That would be interesting. So yeah, Vet TV, love you. See you at convention maybe again. I don't know. Let's move into, you know what to do. We're locked and loaded with wisdom and wit, and we are getting ready to fire it all out in pew, 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 pew. Oh, you got a shotgun there. Rapid fire. Wow. Okay, rapid fire number 1. I don't give a beep what you did. How dare you? The beep, it doesn't say beep. It has a F asterisk K. Could mean, I don't know what else it could mean. I don't know. All right, Mark Wahlberg is not a fan of Tom Cruise comparing his work in movie to military service. Fandom Wire. Actor Mark Wahlberg will not tolerate disrespectful comments about the military. Actor Tom Cruise was once asked if he felt like a soldier while filming for his movies. He agreed and claimed it was brutal. Wahlberg came across the statement and decided to give his opinions, claiming actors have no right to compare their jobs to a soldier's job, hence the title, I Don't Give a... Yeah. The actor used some strong words. However, he seemed to have retracted his statements after he got to know that it was Tom Cruise who said those words. He then claimed that it was all a misunderstanding. I guess it's like a pack of lions. You get really mad, but then when you find out it's the king lion, yeah, you go,
yeah.
Oh.
Don't mess with Tommy.
No. Oh, bigger star. Let me get back in my lane. Yeah.
I like. So Mark Wahlberg has Wahlburgers on Joint Base Lewis McChord out in Washington State. So there's his restaurants out there. You know, he's interested.
Yeah. I think we have one on Sunset here. We have one of those.
Nice.
Yeah. I haven't been to it because it's down in the you can't afford to be here part of Sunset. So
which is where you live.
No.
No.
All right.
Someday.
This one is interesting to me. We've all heard about the Air National Guardsman that gave away classified stuff on Discord, but not to be outdone. Rapid fire number pew pew 2. Air National Guardsman arrested after applying to be a hitman online to make some extra cash. It's from MSN.com. I took the TLDR at the top of this article. Yeah, they have it. And I'll read the 3 bullet points. A Tennessee man is facing federal charges for attempting to engage in a murder for hire scheme with an undercover FBI agent. Josiah Ernesto Garcia, 21, needed money to support his family and searched online for a job as a hitman in mid-February on rentahitman.com, which is a parody site. This guy must be the guy that reads The Onion and believes all the stories. Garcia submitted an inquiry to the website to work as a hitman with the website owner then forwarding his information to the FBI.
Yeah. Are you sad they caught you?
I would be sad that someone would think that I was in the Air National Guard.
Oh, burn! Oh, man.
But I would be. But if I was in the Air National Guard, I would be embarrassed that this guy was representing me.
Yeah, you know what? It's really sweet of them to put that little sob story in there. Josiah Ernesto Garcia needed money to support his family. And so he looked for a side hustle. And instead of painting or selling things on Etsy, he searched online as a job, as a hitman. He did this in mid-February. What is it now? It's April. You know, there's some things that really stand out to me on this. One, we got a lot going on with the Air National Guard lately. They've been doing some silly Billy things. They need to just rope them in. Come on, let's do some CBT training. Get them on that computer-based training. Let's see if we can really get these bad actors to fix some of this stuff. But what else struck me was that he submitted his inquiry to work as a hitman. And then I believe the article says that when the links that the FBI went to, they met him, they talked to him, and then they had to meet him again and give him like the documents. And then he was offered $5,000 to go and kill somebody. Okay. That doesn't seem like enough money to me.
Right?
That's not a lot. That's not even like a quarter of a Dodge Charger.
Well, yeah. I have watched hitman transactions go down on TV.
Oh, I'm glad you added on TV there. There was a real hard pivot.
And that the money's way more lucrative than this. And they always work through different people. Like I'm watching Barry, the TV show Barry on HBO. It goes through like like you don't know the hitman's name. This guy just I bet he submitted a resume, and they knew his address, his phone number. You can email me if you want, or just stop on by. Like,
I had a martial arts teacher, Muay Thai teacher, that said that he was a mercenary. Is a mercenary different than a hitman?
yes, mercenary. You're going to fight in a war. There are mercenaries in the Ukraine. You're going to fight in a war that's not your country, and you're not in the military. You're being employed by their military to help out. Okay.
One of the moves that you could have him teach you was how he got out of having 4 guns to his head. He said there's special moves because he was in that position. He was able to get himself out of it. And I was like, 4 guns. So what if there's 3? That's not enough. Like, you can't do the hand movements to get yourself out of the position. It's too many.
Okay.
I wasn't able to get the training because he made me spar against a 300-pound, 6'5" man, and I broke my foot.
Okay. Yeah, but you should have seen that guy.
This is my life.
This is your life. Yep. All right. We're going to move on from that, but I just want everyone to know this may be the dumbest criminal of the year. I don't know. Should we keep a tally? Should we have a vote at the end of the year? The dumbest criminal we talked about all year?
Yep.
It's got to be. My money's. I'll bet now. It's the year's not half over, and I would bet money that this guy wins. All right, we're about to move on to rapid fire number pew pew pew. That would be 3. Eagle Scout creates flags of gratitude memorial. This is from, guess where? You know where? Legiontown, USA. Justin Barry, an Eagle Scout with Troop 7007, and also a member of Sons of the American Legion Squadron 140 in Prescott Valley, Arizona, completed a memorial project. He wanted to create something impactful for veterans. He called his project Flags of Gratitude. Justin's project was to install 6 flag poles in a semicircle around the existing American flag at American Legion Park in Prescott Valley. Each flagpole has a flag from one of the service branches. Thanks to some very generous donors, families, and friends, Justin was able to complete this project. Justin worked on this project for 2 years, and it was completed in August 2022. On October 15, 2022, Justin held a dedication ceremony at American Legion Park. Ooh. Justin said, I held a dedication ceremony with the local government, veterans, friends, family, and donors all attending. This is where a project like this mattered. I got to see firsthand the positive impact it made on the community. There was a great turnout, and it revealed how significant things like this can be to veterans. Creating flags of gratitude was a great experience, not only improving the community, but myself. My entire goal was to create a lasting, important project, and the flagpoles seem to have done just the thing. Among those in attendance were Department of Arizona Commander Mike Simon, several officers from the department, and Prescott Valley Councilman Roger Kinnesinger. We're very proud of Justin. He is a shining star and has a bright future. Now, that's a senior in high school, right? Eagle thing, or is that junior? Senior? I wouldn't have been quoted like this. He sounds very.
What were you doing? You were doing bad stuff. Bad kid.
I was preparing myself to go to the United States Marine Corps, but if they would have asked me for a quote, I wouldn't have sounded like this.
Well, maybe you need a PR team.
I do need a PR team, and he's awesome. I kind of want to go there. I want to go to Prescott Valley. I want to see.
Keep it up, Justin. You got this. You're going to save us all.
Don't take it down. Don't take it down.
Don't take them down. No.
I want to see the flags of gratitude. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. I'll be grateful.
Yes. You asked what I was going to do on Memorial Day. Maybe I'll just go to Arizona.
Yeah, you could.
I'll give my speech here and then get on the road.
I did ask you that, but it was in a different episode.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Or was it off? camera. I think it was off camera. I mean, on camera.
It could be.
Off
Could
air. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Thank you, Justin. You're a rock star, and we want to grow up and be like you.
Yeah.
All right. Boom. It's you.
Let's get out of here. Hey guys. Oh God, I hate saying this to you again, because you know what? I know how you feel inside, and I know that you're really just in two minds about it. Just don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you consume podcasts. And just leave us a review. You need to leave us a review. It has to be 5 stars, because if you don't leave a 5-star review, I will release trained crows into your home. The crows will somehow form a team. And as they form a team, they'll have a leader. The leader will steal your money. It'll just keep disappearing and you won't know where. There'll be one of the crows that will mislead you by stealing your butter. That's the trick crow. You can avoid all this and more by subscribing to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast, and also suggest a guest. Go to legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima. Click on the suggest a guest link. Otherwise, it's just going to be me and Jeff talking after a while. And we're going to get canceled.
We're going to get canceled. And we won't even bring up what they call a group of crows.
Ooh, don't call in that guardsman.
No, we're not even going to say it on air. Group of crows. Oh no, Holly's, you can't see her, but she's saying it and raising her hands above her head. All right, Alphas, you've stuck with us through thick and thin, and we love and appreciate you for it. And today we paid homage to our interpreter friends, and we hope that you'll watch this film, and we hope that you will participate in America doing the right thing. I don't know if it's still a thing on Voter Voice, but legion.org/action, you can go there and with just a click, let your elected officials know that you care about this issue. And it's not the only one. There are lots of issues for you, not lots. There are several issues that you can care about, and I hope that you will click the ones that you actually do. That would be amazing. And because I really want you to get a jump start on all of this, I'm going to go ahead and declare Season 4, Episode 156 mission complete.